So far, Fortnite has had 5 chapters, and each has a Season 1. Season 1s are extremely important to act as a blank slate and break from the chaos of the previous chapter, as well as to introduce a brand new map and new mechanics. These are some of the most important seasons, and with Chapter 6 on the horizon, I thought it'd be a good idea to rank all of Fortnite's Season 1s. In last place is Chapter 5 Season 1. It's no surprise to anyone that every chapter that goes by, Fortnite loses more and more of its identity and charm. With the start of Chapter 5, Fortnite began to feel like a totally different game. Gun mods were added, which was terrible, and there was also bullet drop. And with both of those factors, I couldn't tell you what the loot pool was this season. It felt like every game I'd play, my guns would just be completely random. And the new movement did not help. Walking felt unreasonably slow, and the game was just frustrating to play, especially coming right from Season OG, which was one of the best moments in Fortnite's history. I also wasn't a big fan of the new map. The layout was fine, but there were no familiar POIs, or just any POIs that looked like they even belonged in Fortnite. Most of the POIs were Sicilian or Roman themed, which made no sense whatsoever, but I did love the snowy forest part of the map. I thought that area was pretty cozy. The storyline this season was non-existent, and the new graphics were terrible. I still don't know why they just didn't keep the Chapter 2 and 3 graphics. They were perfect. The train was also completely useless. It just made the game laggier. This season also had a pretty average Winterfest. A new POI, which I actually really enjoyed, was added, and the floating island was Christmas themed, which was nice, but for some rancid reason, Crackshot's cabin was removed. But the 2 free skins still remained, and they were actually pretty good. This season also added medallions, which ruined the simplicity of the game, and overall, this was not one of Fortnite's best seasons. It was way too messy and chaotic for a Season 1, and the theme of the map was just weird and random. In 4th place is Chapter 4 Season 1. This was not a bad season, especially compared to seasons we get nowadays, but Chapter 4 kind of marked the beginning of the Metaverse slop era. The new map was already chaotic, and nothing flowed together. And there wasn't a single remixed POI, or even a POI that looked like it belonged in Fortnite. This season also introduced a new kind of POI that I call POI husks. They're basically these massive, grand POIs that look impressive, but they're empty inside. I feel like these POIs are made for looking at, not playing in, and for that, they feel lifeless. And on top of that, the graphics changed for the worse. I still think that the graphics which best suit Fortnite are the Chapter 2 and 3 graphics. In this art style, both classic skins and collab skins look natural, but with these new graphics, the only skins that fit in are hyper-realistic collab skins. Any classic Fortnite skin just looks out of place. Everything was new, and the game didn't feel like it used to just a few months ago. Sure, the graphics were impressive and the snowy area looked great, but the whole chapter was unwanted and unneeded. Chapter 3 could have easily lasted a whole other year, and then Chapter 4 could have served as an actual reset to slow down the chaos. But retrospectively, the gravity camera was kinda fun, and so is the Excalibur rifle. And I actually didn't mind arguments. This season's Winterfest wasn't bad, it just didn't add anything new to the table. The trailer for the event and daily presents were good, and at least it had Crackshot's cabin. This was a surprisingly simple season, but the map was still too messy, with 3 equally sized biomes, which messed up the trajectory of the entire season since its launch. In 3rd place is Chapter 1 Season 1. It's not a bad season, just compared to the other 2 on this list, it's definitely a little weaker. Epic was still kinda testing the waters with their new Battle Royale, and the game wasn't fully baked yet. Everything was constantly being tweaked, and things were a bit janky. But still, this season was the first season of Fortnite. They introduced the beloved OG map that holds so many great memories.
It's free!
It also introduced the classic loot pool, the SCAR, the pump, the SMG, and so many more great weapons. This is one of the, if not the most influential seasons of all time, but it was still not quite Fortnite at its best. This season also had the very first Fortnite mirrors, which introduced the pumpkin launcher and the beloved cosmetics, Gold Trooper, and the Reaper pickaxe. But aside from that, this season is just the beginning, and much better seasons followed. In 2nd place is Chapter 2, Season 1. I know this is kind of a hot take, because a lot of people like to hate this season for being long and boring, and that's completely fair. It's the longest Fortnite season to date, lasting from October to February, and it barely had any updates. But regardless, I thought this was an insane season. This was the first time that Fortnite got a new map, and this map wasn't just reused assets from Save the World. This map was forged for Fortnite Battle Royale. We also got new models and graphics, which was also amazing. Fortnite had spent the first 10 seasons finding its identity, and these graphics were created to suit Fortnite the best. Chapter 2 also brought us some simple improvements that we didn't know we needed, like swimming, fishing, and carrying knocked players. We also got boats, harpoon guns, and well, a whole new map, which was a perfect mix of familiar locations and new ones, and the introduction of one of my favorite POIs, Slurpy Swamp. This season was a break from the chaos of Season X, and it evoked this overall feeling of exploration and wonder. You had to discover all of the landmarks to fully chart the map by swimming through rivers, scaling icy peaks, and navigating dense forests. This season also had a great Fortnite mirrors, which added a ton of Halloween decorations, the zombie soccer skins, Peelybone, Big Mouth, and many other skins, as well as a Storm King game mode, which they must bring back. And later in the season, there was a first ever Winterfest. This introduced Crackshot's cabin, a bunch of decorations all over the map, and the first ever free presents and skins for Christmas. I think this was an amazing season that, at least for me, stayed interesting all throughout. And finally, in first place is Chapter 3, Season 1. This is one of the best Fortnite seasons of all time. The entire Chapter 2 storyline ended in a climactic live event, where we saw the messy and chaotic Chapter 2 map flip upside down and get washed away into the sea, revealing a fresh, blank canvas, which would soon hold some of the best moments that I've ever experienced in Fortnite. Chapter 3 came just when we needed it the most. Chapter 2 was a long and cluttered chapter, and Chapter 3 Season 1 was a perfect breath of fresh air. The map was a remix of the beloved OG map with familiar locations, as well as new locations that soon became fan favorites. Half of the map was covered in snow, which was beautiful. I absolutely loved how the desert looked, covered in snow and strung in festive lights. We also got sledding, which was super fun, as well as an amazing loot pool with unique yet simple guns like the MK. We also got tornadoes and thunderstorms, which was kind of forgotten but fun nevertheless. This season was also occurring alongside the No Way Home hype. Spider-Man was a tier 100 skin, and web shooters were in the game. It was a blast just swinging around the map through the falling snow, flipping above all the glowing lights. We also got an amazing No Way Home themed Winterfest, and what made this era even better was that everyone was on to catch a break from the chaos. Every single night there was a full party, swinging around the perfect map. And just as the hype began to die, some of the snow melted, revealing tilted towers. This doesn't sound crazy now, but then it was unbelievable. Tilted hadn't been in the game since Chapter 1 Season 8. And in the next major update, we got Klombo, and the next, we got a new POI. This is my favorite season outside of Chapter 1. Between the amazing map, captivating updates, and full parties in addition to the No Way Home hype, this season was magical. And with Chapter 6 approaching, we can only hope that Fortnite rediscovers its identity and gives us a reset, a clean canvas. No theme, no chaos, just Fortnite.